Today, we need to talk about a tragic story out of Greater Noida. It's a case that has absolutely shaken a community to its core, and it shines a light on a crisis that just won't go away. This is the story of Nikki Bhati.
Nikki was just 26 years old. A mother. Her life was really just beginning, full of possibilities. But instead, it was cut short in one of the most brutal ways you can imagine. And right at the heart of this whole tragedy is one single haunting question that her family and now investigators are being forced to answer. Was this a suicide or was it murder?
So to even start to get some answers, we have to go back to that day, back to the fire, and the scene where Nikki's life came to a horrible end.
Nikki Bhati died by fire, right there in her own home. And what's just absolutely horrifying is that her young son was there. He witnessed it. And that devastating moment kicked off her family's agonizing search for the truth.
So how could things have ever gotten to this point? Well, to understand that, we have to rewind and really look at the immense pressure that had been building inside her marriage for years.
After Nikki married Vipin Bhati, her in-laws allegedly started making demands. First, they asked for a Scorpio car, and her family provided it. But that didn't stop them. No, the demands just got bigger, escalating to a Mercedes, or if not that, 60 lakh rupees in cash.
Now, these demands are all part of a practice known as dowry. And while it's completely illegal in India, this tradition, well, it persists. And it puts this unimaginable financial and emotional strain on a bride and her family. In this case, prosecutors believe it was the motive for murder.
And knowing about that harassment, that constant escalating demand for money, that's exactly why the scene of Nikki's death immediately raised so many red flags.
Right from the very beginning, two completely conflicting stories emerged. On one side, you have Nikki's family. They allege she was murdered by her husband and his family over these dowry disputes. But on the other side, the husband's family. They claim that Nikki tragically took her own life. But yeah, that whole suicide story, it started to look really shaky really fast. Investigators found several major red flags. The biggest one? The home's CCTV cameras were turned off on that specific day. You combine that with the ongoing dowry harassment, and the whole situation just becomes highly suspicious.
So based on this evidence, the police took action. 4 people have now been arrested. Nikki's husband, Vipin, both of his parents, and his brother. This case didn't just stay a local story. It blew up. It has sent shockwaves across the country, because it taps into this raw nerve about a crisis that sadly affects so many people.
I just want you to remember one number for a second: 20. Because here's the thing. While Nikki's story is just horrifying, she is not alone. 20 is the average number of women who die in India every single day over disputes related to dowry. Her story is one of thousands. The public outcry has been huge, and it's fueled by the incredible grief of Nikki's family. In a moment of just sheer desperation, her father said that if the courts fail them, he wants bulldozer action or an encounter. It's this plea for a kind of justice that exists outside the legal system, and it's just a devastating sign of a family's lost faith. All that public pressure, though, seems to be having an effect. The official response has been swift, the case is being pushed through a fast-track court, the National Commission for Women is actively monitoring the investigation, and authorities are using everything they have, including advanced forensics and satellite data, to build their case. But as the legal process moves forward, this case really forces us to zoom out, to look beyond the specific people involved and really get to the root cause of these recurring tragedies. Because ultimately, Nikki's story is like a mirror. It's reflecting a very difficult truth back at us, that the tradition of dowry, this mindset that treats women like a commodity, is still so deeply entrenched in parts of society. And until that mindset changes, these stories, they're just going to keep happening. Getting justice for Nikki Bhati is an absolutely critical first step, but her case leaves us with a much larger, much more profound question, doesn't it? Justice for one person is progress, for sure. But how do you change the mindset of an entire society to make sure there isn't a next Nikki?